Hey, it's your boy CP, Cory Perez, coming at you live over here at GFG TV.
West, this your boy Big Ray West, B-I-double-G, representing the west side of Des Moines, Iowa, not to be confused with the West Coast, and you're tuned in to Season 8 of GFG TV.
Let's go.
We got a very important guest in the building today, man. Why don't you introduce yourself, man, and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey, my name is Cory Perez, otherwise known as CP. Some of my OG people will remember me as Mr. C from Team Liquid days, where it all got started. So yeah, born and raised here in Des Moines, Iowa. So proud to rep that. And you know, my journey goes back many years, and met a lot of great people, and continue to you know, work with as many people as I can here locally and out of state, because that's where we should be going, you know, trying to get ourselves into bigger platforms. So, yeah.
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit of how you caught the music bug, you know what I'm saying? When did music become a part of your life, and, you know, how did that come about?
I'll say it was a pretty early age. My parents were really good about having music. We had, my dad had an 8-track that was connected to a vinyl system in the room, and, you know, every Saturday was the hey kids, you guys got to get outside type of vibe, but they would play music, clean, whatever they had to do. But you know, you'd always gravitate certain songs, certain albums and different things would play that would get you going. So I try to mimic some of those. I remember Thriller was a real big influence. My mom and Tevin Campbell. I remember I would sing along and try to mimic some of those, and my mom would catch me. And my mom would tell me, you got a good voice, don't be shy about that. But you know, growing up with literally nothing, you don't have that confidence, you know? And I was the youngest of 4 boys, so I had to fight for everything. So, but anyway, it's just something that just, about music, just has grabbed me in there, finding the cadence and finding, like, trying to take what already there and then try to, like, make it your own. So anyway, that was basically what it started. My mom kind of acknowledged that, and you know, I didn't really start singing in front of people till like junior year in high school, believe it or not. And I got the courage up to sing in front of 2 of the top guys there that did more of like, because back then it was like, we're talking, I graduated in 95, so we're looking at 93, 94. That time around, it was like Boyz II Men, Jodeci, and all these guys were the, you know, R&B was big. So they were already in a kind of a school choir. It was named Mike Allen and Chris Crawford. Chris Crawford actually is the cousin of Chandra Crawford, which we all know, Bangladesh, right? And he went to school with Chandra and whatnot. But anyway, when I finally got the nerve to kind of sing to one of them, because they were kind of known there as the two singers. They were in a choir and stuff and did everybody knew them, right? So anyway, when I finally got the nerve to sing, I did Come and Talk to Me, like in front of the lunchroom. And I mean, you gotta understand, I was a shy-ass kid at that point in time, like when it comes to that kind of thing. And I remember thinking, okay, are they gonna like it? And do I really have talent? I don't know. You know, your mom tells you you're good, maybe you're not. So anyway, I did that and just kind of got that off my back. And man, I tell you, the faces on all of these people, once they see me here, they looked over. We had the whole lunchroom quiet for a second, and they looked over like, Cory, you sing? And they're like, what is this? So anyway, it was just crazy. There was almost like a weight lifted off me, like, okay, this could be something, right? So we ended up forming our own little 3-part harmony group, and we got to the point where they let us record on their equipment. It wasn't great, but it was like a sound system. So we got I don't even know who has that tape. I wish I could have that tape, but we did a couple of songs. We got to perform one time. I remember it was one of Blackstreet's songs. Baby, I've been thinking something's going wrong. Baby, got an attitude. You know, so I remember walking, they let me have the first verse, and they were like staying by the podium, and I don't know what it was about me. I just walked to the center of the stage, bro, and like just kind of started like doing my thing. I think they were kind of shy or something, but it was just kind of a weird thing, because most of the time you probably think, never performed in my life in front of nobody like that, and I just kind of like gravitated to go and kind of make it a performance. And I think there was just something there. You know, you don't know it. It just calls you to do that. So anyway, we did that, and we ended up getting quite a buzz there. Made that CD little thing that we made. We kind of gave it out to everybody at school, and then had a little buzz. And then we were able to like sing in front of our school when we graduated. So it was kind of cool. We did like a Paul McCartney. It's So Hard to Say Goodbye to Yesterday mixed with Yesterday. Or It's So Hard to Say Goodbye to Yesterday, and then by Paul McCartney's Yesterday. So we mixed that, and it was kind of a cool, just all harmony. And we did that right before we graduated. So it was a cool accomplishment, and just I wish we had the video of that too. Someone out there has it. They need to hook me up, right?
From hearing your music, I could definitely see the inspirations of Michael Jackson and Marvin Gaye. But is there an inspiration musically that maybe I wouldn't have guessed?
I'd say my mom. She sang around the house, and one of the cool things about it is like just having somebody that believe in you, right, and tell you, and always have that confidence in you. I grew up in an era where fathers, and I'm sure some fathers are the same way now, where you aren't going to get any praise. My dad would legit like howl, and he would say, "You sound like a dog in the heat," every time I'd sing. So he would try to crush your confidence, right? And my mom would be the one to be like, "Oh, leave him alone, Joe," and stuff like that. Let him sing in there. So I got through that and still came out and was able to, you know, even with that pressure from your father and then having that. And I know why my dad did that. I didn't until after I was like performing and did things later in life. But one of the reasons why he never once missed a show though. When it came down to actually showing up for me, and like it ended up being about like the music, he was there front and center, right? So like my mom, I say, would probably be a big inspiration, because she, like I said, I probably got that from her. That gene and the passion and stuff. So anyway, it's crazy because you don't know what you get from a relationship, and those two dynamics are totally opposite. Oh, yeah. But that hard love is what made me be able to accept when you weren't good, or accept somebody not accepting you, because you're like, I'm still gonna do it. And my dad probably did that intentionally so that I would see how hard you wanted it, you know. But he never missed a show at that point, and that to me is you know, probably the biggest inspiration to me, I feel like.
That's dope, man.
Yeah.
So did you always know you had a voice, or was the talent show era, like when you did that, when was this defining moment when you were like, damn,
I really think
something, dog.
I think singing thinking in my mind that I sounded like them. I think all people that probably sing think they sound like the record, right? So singing those songs, and again, Tevin Campbell is nobody easy to kind of mimic, but he was like that next Michael type thing. But anyway, yeah, so singing in front of those gave me the validation, like Mike Allen and Chris Crawford gave me that validation that we got something here, and then other people just kind of telling you. So it felt great to kind of know that your talent was legit, because you don't, as a kid, you don't know what it is or not. I mean, I've heard people think they sing, and unfortunately, they can't. But do you break their feelings? Do you hurt them and tell them? Sometimes you gotta tell them honestly, right? So
everybody needs a tough dad to
right,
they suck.
Right. I'm telling you, man. Yeah, I mean, even that right there, like one of the best parts when we were performing young was we used to go to this church, Shiloh Baptist Church, and this is probably a little further on after I'd been doing music, like obviously past high school and all this stuff, and I was going to be performing there a song, and I did I Believe I Can Fly, and it was one of the only times, 'cause my older brothers, they weren't saints, right? We couldn't get them together half the time, so I have 3 older brothers, and we got them all together in that church with my dad and my mom, and I remember singing that I Believe I Can Fly, and something just came over like a spirit, you know, and like I got to see my dad cry for the first time. It was a crazy experience, because then you're just seeing your brothers, and like I almost lost it on the microphone, but something took over, and it just like made me sing even more powerful, and I could feel it, and I could think that whole thing. So it was just like seeing your dad cry and accept, like that's a whole nother acceptance, right? And I think, you know, if anybody that you want that approval from, it's the person that probably was your hardest critic. Yeah. So that was a big moment for me too back in the days.
What specifically about Hall & Oates and Phil Collins was an inspiration to you?
Oh, just the songwriting, the melodies, and you could just hear like sometimes just the background on the Hall & Oates records, just the oh, and then they would just complement each other, and I think you get to realize, and something about music is you can have one voice, do all those parts. But when you have two that can do that in unison, it's beautiful, man. And I remember Phil Collins, man, his whole man, he looked like he's probably sold like fisherman gear and stuff, but dude, he could sell out arenas, man, and he was just so good. Like his music, his songwriting, he knew how to, and he played instruments and stuff, and like he knew every sound, very similar to like another inspiration, Prince. Like just know every single sound that belongs on that song. So it's just you can hear it when you start going back and like really appreciating the music side of it, like the company of music that fits the vocal, and then just when the drums kick in, man, it's beautiful, man. That's what makes music, you know? Like when you could feel that and go back to that era, like you can almost hear coming in the air at night. Like when you hear that, you go right back to that day, that song when you first heard it or what it meant to you. So yeah.
Okay, so let's talk Mr. C.
Okay.
Mr. C.
Let's do that.
That's the Team Liquid era.
Yeah.
What is Team Liquid? Who is Team Liquid, and how did that come together?
Team Liquid. So we'll start with Ian. I always refer to him as my cousin because we were that close. My brother Pat, he's the one that's just above me, about a year and a half older than me. They were good friends in high school, same year. When I was doing the singing, they had already graduated, and obviously I was a senior at that point, and they were a year ahead of me. So Ian he ended up getting, he lived above this laundromat over there on Cottage Grove. Yeah. So that's where Team Liquid really started, but it was originally it was really me and my brother would write. I didn't write anything at first. Like they just said I had a voice, let's get in here. So we would sit there, my brother would write these like long songs. I mean, they'd be like 8 verses, I felt like sometimes. I'm like, all right, and we only had a 4-tracker. So this 4-track machine, if you wanted to get a hook, we had to figure out a way to put all your backgrounds, bounce it down to one file so you can get the other tracks again. So we would like, basically you would send it back over so you had 3 more tracks. And if you had anybody on the song with you, you basically were kind of limited with space. So you had to get it right. That taught me how to be a little bit more on the perfectionist side, because if anybody knew Nye, who is Nye from Team Liquid, which is Ian, he didn't play around. He would interrupt. If he didn't like your take, he wouldn't even care. He would just press stop and he would erase your shit and go right back into it. Wouldn't even tell you. He wouldn't even say nope, next one. He wouldn't tell you it was dull. He would just erase it. Yeah. And you're just like, dude, I thought I did great. And he'd nod. So we would record all these songs over there before we ever got to Team Liquid. We just kind of experimenting, And when I remember like Kaiser, Travell Hill, but he came through. I can't remember what he went by back then though, man, because he's had a couple of names. He would come through, and Joey Ashby. I'll tell you a story about that one, how I met Ashby real quick, and then we'll get back into Team Liquid. So when we were in I think it was right out of high school, they were in a group called The Fellas, and it was him and these 2 twins, Dedrick and some. Anyway, they were off in the hood, and Joey was a young cat, man. And one of my homies, Bill, I think it was Billy, he took me over there to meet them because he said maybe you can help them write some songs. They weren't writers, right? And at that time I was really getting into writing. And I remember like showing up there, and then Joey's.
What year do you think this is?
Yeah, I'm thinking it's probably 97, 96, 97, right around there. And we show up over there, and you got this young Joey Ashby. He's just a kid, man, and he's their lead singer, really, and he's just going off. And then I was showing them some stuff, like what I suggested that they kind of do, and you could just see Joey like, who is this guy? What? Well, he was just blown away by it. So we were all destined, I think, to work together, like as he got older, and man, what he turned into when he first dropped his little mixtape and stuff, bro, we were all blown away. And I remember he used to record over at our same studio, but he ended up doing some stuff with us years later too. But anyway, that started before even Liquid, was around or even thought of. So to get back to that, sorry to get off track, but Team Liquid, it was just me and Ian at first, and then I started working at Yonkers in the shoe department out at Valley West Mall. So I was in the stock, and this guy came in, started working. His name was Jameson Maddox, and he was a salesman there. And I heard him kind of rapping over some stuff, and I was kind of like, okay, you rap or something? He's like, a little bit, a little dabbling, a little bit here. I was like, you should come meet my cousin, man. I was like, he makes beats, and I remember showing him this song that I had. It was called Serial Killer, man. I thought it was one of the dopest songs ever, but it was like not about serial killing. It was about Ian wrote this song and used all these different like serial characters, and he like articulated it. He made it into like a story talking about serial killer. It was just, to me, it was art, right? So
Absolutely.
like he was able to like make these characters from like,
It's creative.
yeah, right. Yeah. It's like he had in there, I can't remember all the people he had, Tony the Tiger and all this stuff. He went all the way out. So yeah, Jameis was like, I don't know, he ain't that good. He was looking at like, he ain't that. I was like, but he makes the beats too, right? So I got him to finally come over, man, and he was kind of like, dude, you gave a bad example of this boy. He's like, he is actually cold when he actually heard him like on some other stuff. And we just kind of kicked it right off the gate. And we ended up just didn't know what we were onto. We just were making music for like, we looked at it as like just kind of like collegey sort of frat boy kind of stuff, like fun music. And it turned into something bigger because we didn't know. We ended up getting on, we had a couple of people that were at the high school radio station, and they would play our stuff. And man, we would that made us motivation, like try to get a song done a week, you know? And so we would like try to drop and have something on there. I mean, we had like competing songs against one another for the top spot that were like, people, because you used to have to call in requests. What was it, 88.1? KDPS or something like that.
So that was your school that did 88.1?
I think it was some high school kids. They like let them come down there, Central Campus. So like some high schoolers
so I
could
used
run.
to rock the shit out of 88.1 back
Yeah.
then. So I was a fan.
So there was times, I don't know if it was the whole time, but I think it was,
heard you
right?
on there and didn't even
Right,
know
and when we got to be down there and have our personalities on there, we're just jokesters. I mean, you probably wouldn't even put our faces to how we probably sounded. So we had this like little buzz going on, and we didn't know we were onto. We just thought we were just making music, and you know, didn't know how to mix. And Ian learned how to make beats on these ASR 10 that he ended up eventually getting, and we were just kids loving what we were doing and not without any really like responsibility. We were just kind of making it, right? And it ended up turning into something. So the three of us just kind of kept that camaraderie and finally got a project together. Now that took a lot longer because back then, when we originally had the system, we had to invest in Pro Tools and like an earlier version of Pro Tools and an Apple. And Ian figured that stuff out, man. And he was a mastermind. He learned how to make beats. He learned how to mix and master all that stuff. And I think we sent the mastering somewhere, but it was a process, man. And I'm glad we went through it because again, it made me who I am now, being around rappers. And that was the majority of the local artists. There wasn't really many singers, right, that were doing stuff. There was probably RJ Collier, and there was Ashby, but I mean, when you think about it, there really wasn't a lot of names out there when it comes to local like singers that were on that kind of like that were even singing with rappers and stuff. So I think the rapping part of it made my pen game better because I had to compete with them on songs. So you couldn't just come in with some like whack singing or fairy tale type stuff. You had to have bars a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
So they made me better. And yeah, I mean that CD release it came with stress. Because, you know, you had to finance it yourself. And then the expectation was also that I took care of that. So like, you got to get that recoup, you know, before we make stuff. So you got to introduce to the business side of things. And that kind of just like, that was the part where it kind of got a little sour for a lot of us. I won't get too far into it because they're not all here. So like, but we could see some, you know, you start having expectations when you have success because you have to, hey, we got to be here on this, that, and whatever. So the long story short, man, we should still be doing music together right now. You know, I still communicate with Maddox every once in a while. He goes by Maddox. But, you know, I think in the long run, long story short, man, great dudes, love them, man. Never going to talk bad on any of them because we've been through it. We were young. We didn't know what we was up against, man. But I think the pressure of the business side kind of made that hard for everybody, man. And we didn't always get. We didn't have managers. We didn't do anything, you know. So, but yeah, Team Liquid, big part of my life, man. And it opened up a lot of doors. We performed at the State Fair, which was a big thing for me, man. Not too many people can say that, especially locally artists. We got to have that stage. That was a crazy show. A lot of people out there and made a lot of fans that night, man.
Yeah, anytime you can perform at That is pretty prestigious with
Yeah.
how they book.
Especially hip hop. When we were, we were considered hip hop back then. So
Yeah.
like they weren't booking that at all, really.
What was the year range around?
We're talking 98 probably, 98, 99, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
definitely that's crazy to get your foot
They
in
weren't.
the door at that time.
We was
It
yeah.
almost seems like hip hop local music was taken more serious back in the day, even by like by the media. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like people were getting write ups and shit like that.
Man, that's right because we and that was another thing too. We got wrote up in the Des Moines Register. What Kyle Munson was that? I think it was. Right.
I know there's a few people that accomplished that, but it just seemed more like I don't know. It seemed like now since it went digital.
Yeah.
I don't know. Shit's fucked up in the game, man.
It is, and you don't get that like in person like recordings. I mean, that was another time like when we were doing the Team Liquid album. That's how I met Tremaine. He came in, man. The first they had already been out all night, strip clubs and all this stuff, and I get over there at probably 8 o'clock in the morning. They're still awake from the night before. And MC Boo was what we went by back then. He was over there mixing the stuff. I'm like, who is this dude? And he's like, I'm Tipsy Russell, bro. He had this name, bro. He was a clown, man. But he was able to move this this hook.
Tremaine was that?
Yeah, we call him MC Boo, and then he said introduce himself as Tipsy Russell. I always thought that was hilarious, man.
He was just being funny though.
Yeah, well, I think he all called himself that. He had all kinds of aliases back then.
Oh, okay.
He acts all chill now, but that
He's a wild
boy,
boy
he was
for
a
real?
wild boy when he was an artist, man. When he's putting out his stuff, man, he was a wild
Talking
boy.
about Tremaine,
Yeah. You can't probably see it now, Tremaine. I love you, brother, but
now on
yeah.
YouTube channel.
yeah,
Check it out.
I just checked out his episode. That was really good, man. But anyway, we met him, and he was moving the hook over and stuff, and like copying it because Ian wasn't as good as that yet, and that old Roland or whatever. And man, he made it come to life. And from there, I remember he had a couple of verses he dropped. I don't even know if we have those out anywhere, but they were dope, man. And then we just always kind of somehow connected, always stayed in. It was like the universe was meant for us to stay together, man. Yeah, he went through a lot of my trials. He was there when I was down and through some depression eras, and he was always there, always an ear, and always reached out. One of the few, So shout out to him, man.
Shout out to Tremaine, man.
Yeah, for real,
Shout out to
man.
Tipsy Russell, man.
Get Tipsy Russell, man.
Labeled as
MC Boot.
an extraordinary impact on your career, so that's a beautiful thing, man.
Yeah,
That's
for
a
real,
beautiful
man.
thing.
So, talk about some of the openings that you've done over the years in some of these shows.
Yeah, I would
Who would
say.
be your first, and I don't mean to interrupt, but who would be your first that you opened up for that was memorable?
New Boys was fun, man. They were popping at that time too, bruh. They were top, and I will give this shout to Robert Horizon Tolson, man. He has touched a lot of artists in this city and put a lot of people on. And I remember he united me and Joey J together. So he and I remember writing this song that we were going to be performing. So Rob was always believing in me in the writing and stuff. He's like, I remember sending the text to Joey J before we opened for that one. That was our first big performance together. But we had this song, and it was like, I was talking about taking flight and all this different stuff. And I was like, I know reading it probably makes no sense. But I was like, let us get together and let's practice this. And I promise you'll like it. And when he finally got it, he understood it. But it was just talking about fasten your seatbelt, you're ready for the ride of your life and all this stuff. And then Rob's like, no, trust me, man. You got to trust him. And then we got together and we did the song. So we, of course, wrote this, sent it to him. He got it down, and we performed it literally the next day. So it wasn't like we had time to really do it. That's how quickly it had to be. And that show was crazy. I'm talking about girls, dudes. There was just a big crowd. Like you wouldn't think it would, it was like a Tuesday or a Wednesday night too. Everybody was out there, and it was just going crazy. And those guys, they know how to put on a show. So we got to, open for them. A couple of the other ones more memorable. I remember T-Pain's probably my favorite that we opened for. He was his openers were killer. But then you almost forget at that, and that was a big time when he was here too. Like he was still huge and was popular. Like he's in the middle of his reign, and you don't realize how many hits he has until you're in the middle of it, and you're just like you see the crowd and crazy. That was out at Bel Air. So anyway, I remember walking by obviously we're in the back area since we're performers, and You walk by there, you got a contact high, bro. As soon as you open up that door, it was smoke come flying out of her. I thought I was like, Snoop in there or something with you, man. But, yeah. So that was a fun one. MGK was interesting. We didn't end up sticking around for the show. I hate to say that, but I was one of those that wanted to get out of there if I could. I was just had kids, responsibilities, but he wouldn't let you say his name during your set or anything. You couldn't hype it up. You couldn't be like, you guys ready for MGK? It was weird. You had to sign a waiver, right? And one of the guys on the opener must have just skipped that, and he got kicked out. He said it. He was like, you guys ready for MGK? All of a sudden, see him right off the stage. They grabbed that dude and they had him taking him out the back of Al Air. It was wild. Like, I don't know why you wouldn't want us to hype you up, but it was something with that. We had to sign that. I was like, okay, whatever. And then wild. One of my most favorite was opening for Jeremiah. I probably didn't mention that on there, but Jeremiah was just coming out, and it was out in Omaha. And oh my God, that was one of my favorite.
That birthday sex.
Yeah, that time, yep. And he had a crowd, and it was me, Horizon, Vince the Prince. Shout out Vince the Prince, man. He's big part of my career, which we can get into. But Vince, we had these songs together, and we all recorded them over Sean Vasey's. Shout out to Sean, man. Big time. Everybody was over there recording. I mean, Sean controlled a lot of stuff over there. He had produced a lot of hits over there. But anyway, we had these songs. We went out there, and bro, that show was so fun, man. I mean, it felt like a bigger show because he had just a control and audience, and we let to go on, and we made songs specifically for that, and like literally that same week, and got to perform them. So crazy. Tremaine even produced one of them. So, yeah.
Tell us a little more about meeting Vince the Prince and how you met Horizon.
Yeah. So Horizon was always around with Tremaine and Nate. I know you guys have probably heard the name NTT before. So Nate Turnbull, he wasn't too far from where I lived when I was raising my kids and stuff, and I wasn't able to get out as much because I was raising 3 children, man. At times on my own. So I'd sometimes get down there. He'd be probably like 5 or 6 minutes away from the crib, so he had his little studio over there. So we would sometimes go out, and then it'd always be Horizon, man. I wanted to go out, I swear he always wanted to go downtown or go out, man. He was always trying to hustle. So he knew me from that. He knew me from Team Liquid, which again, I had no idea there was like he was in a group, Diamond Rain or something like that, was bumping heads with Team Liquid, and they're all like, you mess with him, man? You remember he used to battle with us or something like that? And I was like, man, I don't care. I was like, I'm at a point where I just like making music with great people that like music. And he was very business savvy, he knew how to get the most out of you. And he introduced me to Vince when we did a show. Man, I can't remember what place it was, but he brought me out there. And Tremaine will laugh about this because Rob introduced me as CR. Yeah, and I said CR, and then I was like, all right, man. So the funny thing is, Tremaine will always be like, oh, that's CR. He's like, when I go off on do certain types of songs, he says, that's not CP, man, that's CR, the ghetto version of it or something like that, man. I'll be like, whatever, bro. So anyway, I met Vince there, and all this time I had, we started collabing, and I was like, Hannah. And he told me who his dad was, and his dad was like the principal at Roosevelt when I was going there. So he actually taught, when I was in high school, I took his class of Black History, man, and they don't be doing those classes probably anymore, but that was one of the best classes I could have ever taken. It was taught, and like you learned so much. I'm like, man, they try to hide too much about stuff like that. But anyway, meeting Vince was just crazy because that was the time when I was starting to perform more and was doing stuff, and I remember Vince reached out, and I had like a car accident, so we had to kind of disconnect. And then I took a long break, and then we came back, and I remember recording my part over at Nate's, and somehow Sean was able to take my vocals and remove them from that, and then put them into the session so he could re-put it into I don't know. He was a mastermind with that stuff, but ended up putting out a song called Private Dancer. And man, that song was so dope. And then from there, it was just like, nah, me and Vince had this chemistry, man. It was crazy. Like we could always get on a song. We have so many unreleased tracks that are just sitting there, man.
If you had to put a number on how many records you and Vince the Prince have together, what would you guess?
I would say probably like 30 plus.
A
Yeah.
couple albums.
Yeah, we have a love. We have an album we're supposed to call Love, Lust, and Reality that we were supposed to drop, man. And it was crazy, man. And him with those guys, and there was we used to go up to the school in Minneapolis. So we had a guy named John Chavez, which goes by John O, really good producer. He was a student there, and he got us free studio time in there, so we could do overnight sessions. We'd go up to Minneapolis, stay the night, record all the different, come up there prepared with songs. We'd record, take naps, get back on, and finish, and then you'd leave. And there was always this challenge when you left the next day, like right before you left, we gave ourselves 45 minutes to write a song on the spot, record it, and get it done out the door. And my favorite one that we did was She's a Freak. I'll think I show you guys that sometime, but it was a crazy song, man. We just came up with that on the spot. It was a beat that John O makes, he's a producer, and he mixed that one. He had that back to us like probably pronto because it was his own beat. It was crazy. But it's just crazy how you can come up with stuff on the spot, and then you help each other out. That's what I miss about, like you were saying, like when you have those sessions together, it's you get to help each other out. If you're missing a bar or something, there's enough brains in here that can help you if you're missing something, or if you're just like that cadence ain't working or something like that. It's just, you need those brains, around, and musical people. So that's how we did it up there. All of us just working hard, man.
You're talking about dropping your first solo album this year. Yeah,
long time coming. It took a lot of learning because I relied on too many people in the past, right? Like, and that's okay. If you want to be an artist, you should just be able to be the artist a lot of times. Like when I do go and record at like studios, like where my nephew at Carousel, and it's nice sometimes just to be the artist and create and get in and out of there. You ain't got to worry about mixing. But now that I have my own equipment and stuff, I've had to learn to also add that part into it, because I can't just send these things to just anyone to get it there. I used to I used to have connections. I used to have people that did it for me, and unfortunately I don't have that as much. So, but learning it yourself and trying to figure it out, it's okay. Like it makes you more multidimensional, and like now kind of what you like, and I had to get out of my own way, and like, I just got to trust that they're good. And even Tremaine would tell me, he's like, man, no, your mixes are good, man. He's like, I don't know why you overthink it. Like they're not good. He's like, people have told me that that it sounds like you got it done somewhere. So I just kept pushing at it. And that album was probably a good 3 years in the making from when we started. We took some songs that we were just freestyling in the basements, because me and Tremaine and our homie Cubano Loco, his name's Nick Calzada, but he's from Marshalltown. We would get these little sessions together in my basement, and a lot of times it would, back when I was drinking and stuff, we would sometimes regret how it sounded the next day, because I'd hear jingling and all this stuff, and I had to try to go edit that. But we would just get together and just have like guy weekends, and where you just let loose and be like adult children, and then you do stuff you love, whether it's video games or music. And so we'd record the music, and a lot of those songs are songs we wrote and recorded on that right on the spot during those sessions. So it's crazy. We still got a few of them that are going to be on these next couple projects too.
Nice. Do you have a time frame for that?
We were going to shoot for June. We've got some other releases I think come in, so I might kind of put off into July. So we're not overlapping. We've got the good thing about this whole area right here and working with this man. We're never going to have a dull moment. We're going to have enough releases. We could probably put out a song a week, seriously, and cover the whole summer. And that's how busy it is, So, and that's a beautiful thing when you have someone like, I can't even say I can't keep up with his work ethic, but I try, right? I'm probably come as close as possible. But there was a time where we should have connected a lot earlier, especially when we had our music video with T-Bear and stuff. We were supposed to connect right after that, man, and stuff happened, life happened, like you said, and I wasn't in the right mental state. But I think things happen for a reason, because we stayed fans. We stayed doing the work, me and Tremaine, over at Straight Vodka, and we knew a moment would come where our paths would connect, and we were ready. I think he knows we were ready. It was like we got him a song, and he came over, wrote his verse for that Kansas City Nights, and it was like, the rest was history. Actually, I wish we could have came out with that song that what's that one you gave me and I never got it? I had a little hook, and then you ended up, because I was, lackadaisical, you already got it done and put it out. What's the name of that one? That was a dope track, but wasn't it?
She bad or something?
Yeah, she's bad. Yeah, baddest. Shorty's the baddest, or something like that. I come up with this hook.
Baddest.
Yeah, that song is dope, man.
Baddest remix.
Yeah, we might have to drop a remix on that motherfucker. But that hook, man, was dope. So anyway, I just missed the opportunity, but I think like things happen for a reason, and God puts people in your lives at the right time, and if they were meant to be, they'll come back around. I'm very spiritual with that, man. Like when time's right, things happen, and we was ready for that moment, and it's just cool to be around like-minded people that love music like that. That's all I want, really,
Nice. So look out for that coming around summer, early
Yeah,
summer.
I would say.
Very nice.
Let me ask you, what's your favorite record on the Inception?
The Inception, there's a good ones. I battle between, I would say the one with my son, Undefeated, is probably my favorite because of what it represents. It's me and my oldest son on a record together, and not only is it like good, it's great, and like he did his thing on it, and it organically happened. I think he was over during like a holiday or something like that. We just went down to the basement and pressed record, and he just freestyled that stuff off the top of his head. He doesn't write anything down. I mean, he does probably when he needs to, but he's in the moment. So sometimes I'll send him songs. I'm like, hey, can you get me a verse for something like this? And he's not that type of artist. He needs to be there with you. And if he's there in the studio, he's gonna get it done. He'll probably knock out a whole album with you if you have him there locked in. But he's just one of those that's just a newer generation thing where they can just like the punch in type stuff. I'm still not as good as that yet. But yeah, so I'd say Undefeated's probably my friend because of that. But we have a dope one on there. Be there for you, man. That one came together. That was the first song we sent each other after that, right? Wasn't it? Because I think I sent that to you. I think I sent him like 3 songs on a Saturday. It might even be Sunday morning. This dude had them all back to me the same day. I was like, man, what is this? I was like, what is he doing? Yeah, he's like, all right. And then he hooked us up with Smooth on another one. Oh, that's a whole nother, yeah, dude, man. That's a whole nother banger we got, man.
I'm just blessed to work with somebody of your caliber. I call you the golden voice. That's
you
what
do.
I tell them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Shit. Arguably the best voice in Des Moines.
Man, I appreciate that.
With that said, what are your thoughts when I mention R.J. Collier? Man,
RJ, crazy thing about RJ, he had, when I was in high school or like just out of high school, I think we ran into each other at like a talent show or something, or like it might have been a dance or something. I can't remember what it was, but we ran into each other there. I was doing karaoke, and I think he heard me sing for the first time, and I think I did a Stevie Wonder song, and he looked over there, and then I think he got on there, so I got to see him like, wow, okay, there's someone here locally. So we always kind of admire each other from afar, and we actually, I think he lived over by North or something like that. He had a little studio in there, and I think he had already went to the school up at Minneapolis or something like that, but he was really good at like the engineering part of it and like making his vocals sound so good, and like I was just in awe. Like I didn't know how to do that, and he just knew it. Like he had me over to his studio. I was impressed by how he had it set up in his basement, whatever it was, and for whatever, it was weird because we never got back to that, and I don't know if it's a miscommunication, like maybe, and that's the thing that I think that sucks with like hearsay sometimes, because you could get something where like miscommunication could be like, oh, he don't want to come back over or something like that. I don't know, right? So we never really got back to working, and then, years later, this man brings it together where we do get on our track together. So it's like full circle moments sometimes, man. And I'd love to do more with RJ, man. He's so talented. I remember seeing him when he would perform live with that band. What was it? Can't think of the name of that band.
People's Band, I think.
Yeah, they're named a couple of different things, I think, man. But yeah, he would just kill it, man. I mean, sometimes you'd be out at like a bar and seeing him over there. I'm like, man, RJ just killing it all the time. So I have nothing but respect for RJ. Every time I run into him, man, we all smiles, all daps, because, I think it's weird because we're in a small community in Des Moines, as big as we think it is there's a lot of people out there. They always want to pitch you against each other. I ain't that type, man. And it's just, I love everybody. I want to work with everybody. That's how I've always been. I want like-minded people and I don't want egos ever get in the way. And people try to force that on you. I'm like, nah, man, we cool. And the funny thing is, RJ has a big, deep history with Tremaine from before me, you know.
That's
so
crazy.
right, and he showed me a bunch of songs like that they did together. Tremaine keeps everything. I don't know how he has all these songs. Like all these, like pulls them up, some titles, send them to us. I'm like, dude, RJ, man, y'all was killing it. And Tremaine would write.
About RJ in his interview.
Yeah.
Right, it's crazy. He had a deep history with him, and they'd worked hard together. Like I think they had like a lot of songs together that they did. So
Man, I had RJ sing at my wedding.
right,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
He
So you
sang, shit. What's the song from Ghost?
okay. My love. That one?
Yeah,
that one.
Yeah. He came and sang that.
Oh
shit.
really?
I can't.
That's crazy.
Undying Love.
That's crazy.
Undying. Is it Undying?
Man, that's not even like the genre you'd think he'd be into, but he could do a lot. He is so talented.
He learned that motherfucker. He sang. Showed up in a clean
Yeah,
ass
he
red
killed it.
ass suit.
No,
dog.
you already know.
Dog.
What's one thing he gonna do? He gonna be clean every time he
Nah,
show up.
Yeah, he killed it. Yeah,
yeah,
he
he-
looked sharp too.
He's one of those that will show up sharp and try to steal the show. So I ain't surprised
RJ.
one bit, man. Yeah.
So can you speak about how you got to working with Chemist and doing the Head in the Clouds video?
Yeah, that was fun. That was all through Sean Basie, man. There was a period of time, and I still reach out to him from time to time, Sean, man, to check in on him and see how he's got. I wish he was a little more active, but you know, I know life gets in the way and things. So we at that time, Sean, you know, working with Rob and Vince, especially at that time, making a name for yourself. We were doing stuff that, you know, I think people weren't accustomed to seeing. We had sports and education tours and different things. We would go around to high schools and all that stuff. So anyway, Chemist caught wind, and I remember he worked with Sean, and he had a couple songs with him, and then we just kind of crossed paths in there, and they asked if I can come through, and he had this hook idea that he wanted me to do. And I remember Sean and him went down for like a cigarette or something like that. I was like, just leave me up here with it. I got it. And then he came back, and the rest was history because he had kind of the idea, and then we just brought it to life, man. And Head in Clouds was just a crazy experience because we got to go out to Seattle where he knows some people that do film and high quality stuff. Like they do commercials and different things, and that's their business. Mm-hmm. So they get that. When he put us up in like a little Airbnb type thing, I think we watched a Madonna fight, and they fed us well and stuff, and they had like sets like all planned out. They had actors, everything planned out because that's just what they do. They look at this like they just look at it as like a fun part of the job. They get away from like the business side of it. They get to do it fun. So it was just cool. We got to do, I think we had like 6 different locations we shot in. They got us into studios and again, office buildings where it made it look like that thing was a big old office and it was really just a small little kind of like section. But the way they did it, and you know, it was cool. And they took us into like 2 different studios and different things there. So, and then they took us to a park, and they even had kids, like parents bring their kids. So that little ending scene. So it felt like you were like a superstar at that point because you were like different than what you normally would shoot because these people were like professional. It was, and it was fun, and that video came out dope, man.
I always try to talk Ray into it. Maybe one day we'll do it.
Yeah.
I gotta get on my video game, man.
I know. Well, I mean, with the crew we have now, man, we could probably find some budget too a little bit.
Shit.
And Des Moines has evolved too. There's a lot of locations that have studios and things that we could even just support local and figure something out.
Oh yeah, I know already right now. If we need a spot, Carousel, I got a connection in there. They'll help out with that too if we need it.
If we wanted to do some type of set work and things like
right.
that. That's what my education's in, so that's where I would play into probably best. I love music video shoots though because they're kind of chaotic, they're kind of crazy. You kind of just do your thing.
I wouldn't be
kinda
surprised.
Get some angles, try to make it look as best as you can.
Yeah.
You're trying to represent the city as best as you can.
And I think that's that's where your creative comes out too. You know, you get to kind of bring it all together. So.
And I do enjoy it. I love. That's in the film world. They just call it a run and gun, style shoot. And I definitely pride myself on being able to do that because it's not something everybody could do.
Right.
And I do love it. But I would love to one day locally shoot a music video because I've done a lot of work.
I agree.
On the other side of it, but I would love to just shoot something for something like you guys.
I agree. I'm down.
So, Tell us what comes to mind when you hear names like Trip Shelton and Gadima.
Goddamn, man. Gadima, we worked on a song again through Sean Basie. A lot of those MCs were recording over there, and we had a song with New Depths too. I think we were all on that. It was a Character Assassination. Was the first time I think I worked with all three of those guys actually. So it was not something I would normally get on, but Sean had that confidence. He's like, "We gonna find no, you just come up with the hook," and it was a grimy MC driven, talking about burying a girlfriend type stuff. So it was like off the hinges, right? And I remember that hook, man. It was just, what do you say when you're talking about murder, man? And I said, "You really gonna say I'm sorry?" And it was, "You're gonna scream for your life," or something. "You're about to meet your maker." It was some shit. So, but when he heard, he was like, dude, he's like, "You can do anything, bro. You just made a singing song about that." I was like, "Man, that was you, man. You pushed me to do that one."
Just
but
made murder joyous.
Yeah, exactly. It was crazy. So,
You harmonized my death.
yeah, and the crazy part about it was getting on there with those three, man. Trip, I think I got to witness all three verses except for Depps, because I think he did his at his crib, but I got to see those guys in action. And man, Goddamn is one of those guys that can get through it correct, and if he feels like he has one little thing out of place, he'll stop it. But him and Trip, man, there's two of those guys that just go, and that passion that they have, like you can hear it in the vocals. So Trip's that, and then we've got a song with Trip now again here that we'll be dropping with Test One. Shout out Test One, man.
Definitely shout out Test One.
But yeah, so those two, man, top tier MCs in the city, man.
With that being said, tell us about Test One.
Test One, man. Oh gosh. If only you guys knew how our group chat went, but we love that, man. He somehow became the butt of some of these jokes that not even deserving, but he doesn't fight back, so he just kind of takes it. So he doesn't fight. So we've kind of just.
He's too nice.
Yeah, he's too nice. He's like a big teddy bear, man.
Nice.
But nah, Tess is nice. Anything I've got back from Tess for some Straight Vodka projects. Man, and it's all different styles. Like he's not somebody you can just put in a box and just say he can only do this, only do that, sound different. His Kansas City Nights verse is different than there's gonna be a song called That's Law that we're dropping. And Stay Unified, he comes in on some stuff, and All We Do Is Win, for all y'all that haven't checked that one out. That's another dope one, and all different styles. Such a student of the game, like. He's somebody that knows what everybody's doing somehow, and if he thinks he met your family member or something like that, he'll reach out and be like, "I met a family member. I think of you." He'll know. He knows the history. His family is so deep in the music game. Yeah. Like I learn about when I text him and talk. When we talk, I learn about his sister and his brother and all these people that are in the industry. It's mind blowing. Like how he's just deep in there, and he's carving out his own lane, man. So I'm excited. I'm excited to get his project.
That dude doesn't cling on to nothing. Super original artist.
Yeah.
The dude is just professional as it gets.
Right.
He's really
produces too, and he's like sampler and finds the right kind of songs and sounds to make him, man. Yeah, he's ultra talented. I'm so thankful that we get to have him on our team, man. He's amazing.
So talking about working with Diggs to Beat.
Diggs to Beat. So he reached out to me. It's got to be like 6 months ago. He wanted to collab, and he had a song that he needed to be on, and he just said, kind of do what you want to do on it, and then we'll kind of make it. And there was a song. It had this sample. It was like, and it sounded like, to me, the initial thing I heard was Masterpiece, but I had to find a way to make Masterpiece cool, right? Like, and make the words come to life. So it was like, I love your body. It's such a pride, such a sight to see. Anyway, I threw away like the Mona Lisa in there, and just basically made it about art, like you're on a wall and all that in my verse. And then I I think he's still trying to get Ashby, because I guess it's his cousin, to do a verse on it. I'm not sure if that'll end up working or not, if we'll end up getting that, but that would be like really, really dope. But anyway, we did that song, kind of connected, and then I think I added some harmonies or something behind one of his vocal or verses not too long ago, and yeah, it was. And then we got Mamacita that we just dropped. So and Ray it was so crazy how Ray winds up on it. So I don't even know how, because here's one day, and he don't tell me, he just sends me the name song in our group text, and magically, why is this Mamacita popping on there? Gotta wait till the end, because he's on the end. And dude, I was so mad. I said, the first thing I said is like, I freaking hate you, dude.
Yeah, you did.
I absolutely hate you, dude, because like, he knows how to like find these rhythms in here, and I kept telling him, I was like, the way he builds that verse up, like, I know that Mamacita is gonna be said at some point, because every word is rhyming, and I'm like, I know his rhyme scheme, like on this, he's got me locked in. It's like, when is he gonna do it? Of course, saves it for the very last word, Mamacita. And I was like, damn. So anyway, that song is so dope for all out there. It's on all platforms out there. Mamacita, Digs the Beat, CP. And yours truly over here, Big Ray West. Song is such a vibe, man. Perfect one to ride with. If you can't move to that one, you got problems in life, man, for real.
Shout out to Digs the Beat. Another multi-talented producer, video.
Yeah, man,
covers.
he is amazing. Yeah.
And he continues to grow and get better.
He is, and he's very organic. So he's one of those guys that just like wants to make music for the art of it.
Definitely a passionate guy.
Yeah.
Tell us about T-Bear and Fleet of Genius.
T-Bear, man, my boy. We go back to the R&B Tonight days. So he was one of the artists that I invited on the R&B Tonight, one of the showcases I had. I had a couple other artists, and man, he brought the house down. I remember he was so privileged to be on there. He's like, seriously, man? I'm like, yes, bro, I'm a fan. And he came in, he shut that show down, and he had like his team up there. I mean, it was like 4 or 5 people mashing up in that joint, and every song was banger, bro. And I was just like, he brought that house down, man. And from that point, man, I could just tell we had something big in common, man. Just the way he sings, way he raps, and people. I mean, obviously we all know, but if they only put him in a box to say he could just kind of do those singy hooks, nah, bro. He's one of the best MCs too. I mean, that guy, he brings bars on his records. So shout out to T-Bear. And of course we had the video that we did together, and a song we did, Feeling This Vibe. That one came together kind of fun because I remember him sending me the beat, and I instantly, like, I knew that something about Feeling This Vibe, because he's like, I said, is it an open concept? He said, yeah. And I remember sending him that verse idea that I recorded, like just a verse idea at my house, because I think at that time I actually had a studio, and ended up send all my vocals to Sean Basie, and Sean mixed my parts for that, and then we ended up, I think, finishing it over at X's. But that video was fun too, fun experience. I know we did, when we talked together, we know we didn't get it the way we originally planned it, and he always talks about possibly doing like a new one or something like that to kind of revamp that song. So maybe we could do that. But that song, I think we just didn't get it pushed as hard as we could have, and I think we still can. That's the thing about music. You can always bring your single back, or something can bring it in. But that song,
So to you, is brand new to people that never heard it.
Right? And that song is dope, and it has visuals. So there's no reason why we shouldn't be pushing that again. And then you said Fleet of Genius. So Flea, man, I met him, man, Smooth Criminal, all those guys, when he was like probably 16, 17 in the game. He was young. He would always be running around. He was so always animated and moving, man, and so talented, dude. He produced even, I think, back then. Yeah. And he wrote and did everything. And man, he was just, I always thought he was the one guy that could just do it all and just get out of this place, like make it. He's one of those like his name fits him, like, and the fact that I haven't worked with him, it's kind of a travesty. Like, I haven't got a chance. We have 2 songs now, right? That we did that night we came over for a session. So those are obviously be released as we get them all mixed and whatnot. But man, I'm always blown away. Everything I've heard of him, he was on. I think he had a song called "Wishing Well" with Sean. That was dope, and I've listened to a lot of his catalogs. He's talented, out of this world, and man, I hope that we can connect more because that's one of my favorite artists here, as well as T-Bear. T-Bear, we got some songs we got to get finished, brother.
Nice. How about your time working with Duke the Truth?
Duke the Truth. So Duke, he's probably one of my favorite performers I've ever seen, man. His whole Lame Nation people, man, they shut it down every single time. We've had opportunities. I think we still got some songs sitting that we've got to finish up. But it was back in my days when I was really, really active before I had a little bit of a layoff and came kind of back. But man, he's so talented. I just always have admired him from afar. We've got, like I said, I don't think we've ever actually officially got anything released, but I know we have some stuff recorded, and I know that he was wanting to work on some stuff again here recently. So hopefully we can reconnect and finish those songs and get them done, because the ones we had, I feel like are dope. So
shout out, he's another Full Sail alum.
Yeah, he is amazing,
my
man.
mater.
Really, he is amazing, man.
Shout out to bro.
Yeah.
So tell us about what the song. I need the title of these songs, and then tell us about how they came together, and KC Young Boss and Ryder Ra. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
songs,
so that's,
how did you work with those guys?
Yeah, so Kansas City Nights was a all Ray situation. He reached out. I know we've been always wanting to work. He knows how much I support him, and always was commenting, always liking his stuff. And I think he finally just kind of said, he reached out. He's like, "Hey, man, what's it cost to do a track together, right? And what's it gonna take?" I think is how he worded it. And I was like, "All it takes is what you just did." I was like, "What you need?" And he's like, "I got got this idea. I need a hook for the chorus, and possibly I think we ended up adding a bridge or something, or maybe that was, I can't remember how that came about." But I said, "Yeah," and he said, "If you want, we can even have your boy Tremaine do the production," because he goes, "I know you guys work together," and I said, "Let's get it, Tremaine." I said, "Well, here's your opportunity. I know you admire them from a huge far, that whole GFG camp, man. We watched all your guys' shows and stayed in touch." And anyway, that song came because, I mean, you came over, drove and picked a long drive out to Pleasant Hill, right? Yes, walking by probably cornfields at one point. But he got in there, man, made easy work of it. And I think Tremaine even said this in his interview, but we had plans to show this man so many beats, but I've learned so much about this guy in the short time of working with him. He don't like to play around. If he hears a beat he likes, he's like, "Let's just jump on it, delete all the rest, or push the other ones. I'll get back to those." It's a mood thing though too. One. He knows. I know he knows, and that is a thing that I think a lot more people should do. If you like one, stick to it. Don't argue over it. Just get that done, because if you skim through them, you're gonna eventually go, "I don't like that one," and you're gonna be annoyed, and then you might not even go back to the one you originally liked. So we've got that beat, and funny thing, it was the first one we showed him, right? And that was my favorite one, so it kind of worked out. And Tremaine had all these plays, "Now we gotta go get through." I was like, "Nope, he knows what he's like." I love that he knows what he wants. So we wrote those things that night. It was probably like you said, half hour. We were in and out. He jumped out, and and then who was the other?
Ryder Ra.
Ryder Ra. Okay, yeah, that was another feature that you hooked up with this. All We Do Is Win. That song, man, one of my favorite ones. And I remember writing that one and sending that to you. That probably 20 minutes after I sent you that you're like, "Yep, that's it, bro. We got this shit." And I remember you wrote your verse. You sent me your verse probably 10 minutes later. We were like, "Well, the rest of the people got to do their work." But and I think I even had it recorded, didn't I? Didn't I record it and had it to you? It wasn't even a voice note. I think it was recorded.
That's a hit, dog.
Yeah, and I said, "This is the first thing I heard," and I was like, "Man, now imagine a video for that." Because again, I always think of All We Do Is Win as a song that should be in like what it's for, in sporting events, a video game. Yeah. If we get it in the right hands, and that's why I think, like you said, our songs are maybe oldest to us, but never to the new listener. That's a song that can go in and be on any sort of sporting event playing. I could hear it inside arenas and stuff, man. So we need to get that, maybe retool, and maybe try to get a video shoot for that one, man. That would be dope. But yeah, I love that song, man.
Talk about working with DZ.
DZ, well, that was another. Tremaine had always talked about DZ. He sent me so many of his songs, and the collab that he did with an R&B artist, so good, right? And I would,
Man Black.
and yeah, that one, I've listened to that so many times, and always loved his flow. And then we got an opportunity. Ray had reached out and said, here's an opportunity for this song with DZ. Are you guys in? And we said, you know what? Why wouldn't we? This is like one of Tremaine's top dudes. And I was like, let's get it. And you know what does it take? Let's just make it happen. And Smoke and Ride came about. So we wanted to cater to his audience a little bit, and we said, okay, challenge accepted. Let's get it. And I remember writing that one and sending it back. And I think, the good thing about like our working group and how we get it is a lot of times it starts with the hook or like the idea. Let's get a concept together. I'm fortunate enough to have a studio at my house, so majority of the time I can get it done pretty quickly so that we don't hold up the process. I think it helps inspire when you have that hook already on there. It makes that verse process writing a lot easier. Obviously, Ray, he's going to write and have his stuff done before everybody else, but I think it just makes it easier. So that was a fun one. DZ is awesome. I've actually got a couple of songs that are going to be in the works with him. I'm trying to do one as a single, which I think is this song "Cake and Ice Cream." I think he liked that one so much that he even did an album art for it that night and sent it back to us. So because he has a guy that does that stuff, gives him visuals and stuff. So I'm like, oh, okay, he's definitely feeling that. And I'll tell a quick story on that one that was interesting. When we first sent that to him, I think the format, it felt like it might have been 16, the verses, but it ended up probably feeling like 32 because it's more slower moving. So I think when we got it back, we got 12 bars, which is cool because it allowed me to kind of put like an intro for that first bar. Because we were thinking about, do we edit the beat, but y'all get to hear it when it drops. But it's like, it gives you an opportunity more room to kind of add something that can make a dynamic. So that song I think is absolutely going to be a fun one and a hit. And then I have another one that's going to be on the next EP. So Moment With You is the name of that one.
Shit, let's talk about working with Marcel P. Black.
that was how that one came about, man. Obviously another one that is with me, Tess One, and Ray West, and Tremaine making the beat. I think the funny thing is when we found that beat for that one, it was only a snippet. And I think Tremaine used to always tell me, try not to go in those snippets because how he records those, sometimes when he bounces the actual beat, it'll be delayed. So he's out the gate. I messed up and found the one, but I loved how it fit. We came up this hook, and I sent it to him. He had his verse written, and man, it was cool to get that verse back with him. He raps with so much passion and so much, like, he has a meaning behind every word he says. And like when he sent me, the thing about Ray is when he wants us to get a feature, he sends us a lot of links to music. So in the group chats, you'll still be like 4 or 5, and then you go check it out, and you're like, okay, let's just make this work, because he's right in the ballpark of what we're trying to talk about. A lot of these issues, we all have the same views as him and where the world is. So that song, Stay Unified, I think it's coming at the right time. I think a lot of people can be moved by it. And I'm excited to have you guys here. It's coming up here on May 25th, if I'm not mistaken. So I think that one's the 25th, and we have 2, right? May 25th and 27th. Yep. So I want to say May 25th, that one drops. So keep an eye out for that. But he's an amazing artist, man. Hope we can work more with him.
Look forward to that. Can you talk about working with King Prickett?
That was like a fantasy. I remember when we got that opportunity, we, shot your shot, and then that shot gets responded to. You move Earth to make sure you get that, right? And you're patient as possible with an industry person of that caliber, no matter how long that takes. There were times we probably were thinking, will we ever get this verse back? And I remember that voice, Ray would be like, just be patient, CP. Don't just wait a little longer, CP. These guys wait sometimes a year. And it was really just a mix-up, It was just really like, I thought I had already responded type thing, So that whole thing came crazy, man, because we were right here. We came over here, and we were picking up flyers, I think, and we said, what do we want to do for this song. What should we do for the concept? And I know he's big on the DMI to touching bases, so we thought DMI to LBC would be cool because you got the letters, they stand out. It's such a catchy little thing. So I think we just kind of were humming some words here, and then I came up and we found the right beat for it. Clearly, that thing is banger, and that came together so organically too, man. I think everybody rapped, and one thing about it is like when you get a verse back and it's exceeded expectations, even from an industry person, because again, we always think that they don't have to put time and effort to pen something right then that fits and matches and talks about what they heard in the hook or whatever the concept of the song is. Not only did that, I think he mentions in his verse maybe like 3 or 4 lines that might have come from the hook. And the way he illustrates it and his energy just jumps through. Like it's crazy. So anyway, he didn't have to go that far, but he did because I think that's just who he is, right? So that song is astronomically good, man. And I credit to these guys, man. They freaking hold their own on that. And that's not somebody you get on these songs and you're like,
cut the crap. He
but
killed us.
no, I mean, yeah, but as far as like,
Yeah.
I mean, we all already had this conversation in the group text, but I'm always gonna still support my boys because I don't even mean that from bad weather. You guys aren't that far off, man, and I mean that from my heart. You guys came and again, one thing true to both you and Tess, many artists would have went back after hearing that and redid the verse. They said, hell nah, we repping what we started with, and that's what it's all about. And one thing that everything that Ray's gonna stand on too is he's always gonna put his peoples on a legendary song like that. You may not be on the song, but your name is. So he shouts out a few local legends here on that track, and who else does that, man? He's always putting his people, the people he messes with, on his records, and even if they're big features, he's gonna make sure you guys are on it, even if you're not physically on it. So shout out to that.
Man, I want to ask you, we're going to take this to basketball style.
All right.
You're a head coach.
All right.
All right. You need a starting 5. The starting 5, you're going to put these 5 in the studio against everybody in Des Moines to make the hottest motherfucking album or the hottest song or whatever. Who is your starting 5? Who are you going to coach them up? You know what I'm saying?
Man, that's a fun one, man, because I've worked with a lot of artists, and there's a lot
of eras.
We're at a lot of eras. Man, if you're talking performance alone, I'm putting Ashby on that shit because he's gonna bring it. He brings you singing and rapping.
There you go.
But he's gonna be also a performer if we're out there in front of people. If you want the voice that never disappoints, you got to put Smooth on there. If you want to keep it in Flea. I mean, again, I don't have very many songs or stuff, but I'm always blown away with what he brings to the table. He can produce. He can, wow, yeah, man, it's tough, because I have such history, so I'm definitely gonna bring Vince on. And Vince the Prince, man. I mean, if I can ever get him out of retirement,
squad.
Right? So he might be like a +1 or something right now, just because he can't get on those tracks. But who else? And we got. Is that 4? Is that 4?
Yeah, one more, man.
Yeah, one
That's
more
for the championship.
All right, man. I have to go with my boy Bear, man. I'm stealing all his artists, man. I'm stealing all his artists over here.
Yeah.
I know that we had kind of a split on that. I mean, and that's just where it's at, man, because those guys, I mean, I admire them, and again, I think it's probably too, it's easier to like have those artists from afar and not have worked with them to know that what they're capable of, and I would love to be part of that, like building that too, like these songs, let's make these songs come together and be part of that process of like the what do you call those, executive producer type thing too. So yeah.
What do you think the main differences is in today's R&B music and the R&B music you grew up to, say the 80s and 90s?
I think the older genre comes from a thing where you didn't need, you just needed a microphone. You didn't need all the glitz and glamour with like the auto-tune and stuff. And I know auto-tune's been around for many years, so it's probably been on records we never known. But I come from an era where, you know, you sang, you was raw, you did it that way. You know, I obviously am a victim of that now, that I have autotune on every recording track, because not so much to fix, like, make me sound better, and it's just more just kind of like to sound modern, you know. It just sits there behind there. I don't necessarily need it for tuning necessarily, unless I'm really trying to make it sound that way, but I very rarely do. But the current generation, though, has learned from those same artists, and I think they're in their own right are more conversational artists. I think back in the older, it was more of they're pleading to, you know, the girls, and, you know, it's all about love. Nowadays it's like the current R&B is a conversation, man, and it is beautiful to hear, because they find ways to talk about stuff that's day to day, but make it's different, you know. I don't know how to put my finger on it, but I have a lot of respect for a lot of artists out there. You know, I listen to Vito is one of my favorite that's currently out there. This guy named Upstairs, he's not as known probably, but he songwrites and does a lot of stuff for different artists. He writes for Chris Brown. Chris Brown's another one. They make great music, man, and I don't mind it, because they have that throwback mentality too, so they kind of mold the two together. So,
if you were a new artist today and you wanted to put out your first song, what would you do? What platform would you go?
That's funny, because I'm probably such a dinosaur still with some of that stuff, you know. I'm still learning, man. I got on to...
He said, look, my motherfucking people handle that shit.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because, you know, I was religious to use that darn SoundCloud for forever, man. But it was, you know, there's still an audience for that, and I know a lot of people still use it.
They actually do distribution now.
Right, I know, isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it is.
So it might be something to look into. So we've battled about this. You know, right now I have a DistroKid. So, I mean, I've got that thing paid up for your annual fee. So we're definitely going to, I'll probably use my releases through there. Seems to work. That was my first one. Might as well maximize what you can that year. And we're going to be looking at other options, because some have great, DistroKid has some great things, and then there's other parts that are just don't work, you know, like for as easy as some of the others. So, and the crazy thing is there's so many, as I'm finding out. Every time I do a feature, there's a different thing, and I can't seem to get them to connect to my darn CP page for whatever reason. Nothing on their fault. That's just because I have the most generic darn name. I should have called myself something crazy or something. So I could have had it, but yeah. So anyway, I would obviously just go the same route that I'm already doing, because you gotta use a digital DSP to get it out there for you. So. And maybe if it's something that I'm really passionate about, you got to get the album pressed up, because we need something to leave behind, because this digital age is probably going to go away at some point.
Hope nobody hits the delete button.
Who would be your top 5 rappers of all time?
Ooh, top 5. And thinking of that, that's a good question, because I try to just put 5 rappers in a group. I don't really. Even if it's top 5, it's not like I'm labeling them from, you know, 1 to 5, right?
Yes, sir.
It's okay. So if I was to say, and these are probably my favorite rappers to listen to, probably 2. So I would say Joyner Lucas, Nipsey Hussle, Andre 3000, Ludacris, and who else? That's a tough one. Tough one. I'm trying to think of someone else, man. Because those are probably my heaviest ones that I like. And Scarface. I don't know why I wasn't thinking Scarface.
Uncle Face.
Yeah, I love Face.
Who do you think, out of all the years working together, who do you think you would release a joint album with?
Joint album? I think that what's next in line, and I don't say this just as here, it's got to be Ray. We are gonna end up having probably one of the better albums, I think, once we get everything lined up and we identify what songs. Right now we're just kind of in collab mode, trying to get these things focused on, but we've talked about doing a joint album, so I'd love to do that with Ray.
Fire.
I think it would be, because we've dabbled in a few songs where it's like that. And I think as Straight Vodka, we want to do these Straight Vodka Presents EPs, where we kind of like give a showcase on a different artist. I think his is going to be really fun once we can lock in. Because, I mean, we'll bring other artists in on some of those songs, but a majority of them is going to just be me and that artist, or like it could just be Tremaine's production and those artists themselves, where they don't necessarily need us on it or need me on a track or whatever. But we try to keep us all together. But that Test One one's going to be dope too. But I would really like to lock in at some point once we get some of these other things ironed out, and maybe that's the next year thing. But I think it'll be dope.
And one last, so if you have unlimited budget and you could work with any artist ever, who would it be?
Any artist ever, I'd say Prince. Prince is my goated man. Somebody that can like play every instrument, self-learned, is gonna hold you accountable and gonna bring the best out of you. And probably gonna learn something just off of every second you're near him. You're gonna learn something, and I think he's gonna make you a better person. Even if you don't like what he has to say, you're gonna learn. You're gonna come out of there a better person, man. Yeah.
You going to that Chris Brown and Usher concert?
Probably not. I don't have the budget for that.
You're an R&B guy. I had to ask.
I mean, I would go if it was more reasonable, but yeah.
Pretty astronomical on them tickets.
I
Yeah.
think there's some nosebleeds up there for, I don't know the price.
Mitch May said he could get them for decent without all the fees through his work. And I think he was looking at it, like the cheapest one was probably like $200 or something like that.
And that's nosebleed.
Yeah. So yeah.
Big names though.
It's gonna be a killer concert. I mean, if you're going, you're gonna enjoy it.
And you know they're gonna have some motherfuckers with them.
Yep, all day long.
Do you have any shout outs?
Shout out just to everybody out here grinding, man. I don't need specific names, because if you're grinding and you're working hard and doing music, man, and not giving up on your dream, much respect to you, because there's so many things that get in people's way in this world. And, you know, a lot of times I look at music as like a relationship, because there are many down days. There's times you want to fight and argue with that thing, but you make up, because if you don't have that in your life, you're empty, right? So as many times as I've tried to divorce music, as there's been times where I wanted to divorce music, man, it keeps calling back and we reconcile. And I think that those that are in the game, as long as we've been, don't stop doing it, because something tells you that your age dictates when you should do or put out music or create music or do different genres, whatever it is. Keep grinding, man. So, but again, shout out to all my locals, and shout out to just people in general that are working hard out here doing their thing, man. Much love to y'all. And if you need to work, man, just get at me. I'm not that hard to work with. I try to make it as easy as possible, and I want to give you guys the best record I can possibly can. So shout out to all y'all, man.
Well, CP, we thank you for your time, and thank you for sitting us down with us here at
all day, man. Much love, y'all.
Appreciate you.
Peace.